Good morning, everybody. It's Alan from Woodcrest Bonsai and Flower Garden. So this is an update on the trees that I put in the ground. So you might be thinking, then why are we being shown these flowers? Because they're in the same bed. This is the seedling zinnia that just came up from last year's crop. These are snapdragons. And they're just so beautiful. I love my flowers. And I pulled a lot of weeds out of here, but I just couldn't pull the snapdragons. I just couldn't. So I planted trees. There are trees in here. I can prove it. Let's pull some of the real weeds, and we'll see that there is a Premna lurking. Do you see him? I hate this stuff. I don't know what it is, but oh my God, it has a nasty little taproot. It's just horrible. So I think that's pretty good. Can you see the Premna? And once the snapdragons fade, what I do is I collect the seed. In fact, these snapdragons that you're seeing are like 4th or 5th generation of my seed. So they flower, they go to seed, I collect the seed, I plant the seed, they flower again, I collect the seed, and so on and so forth. So there we go, there's a Premna in the formative stages. Here's another one right here. I think I'll just use my hand. So he's in the ground there. Not much to talk about. Then I have a really pretty nice Premna right here that has a pretty decent trunk and is sprouting quite nicely. Once again, the snapdragons are like right there. And of course, we all know why they're called snapdragons, right? That's because if you take a flower, let's do this multicolored one. If you take a flower and you squeeze it, snapdragons. And then this is the area that I really weeded tremendously. And these are all Neea. And these are a few years old now. And they were in pots. And I figured, they're really not going to do much. So I put them all on the ground. And even though it's the end of April, they really haven't done much. And I think it's just because they're so tropical. They want it to be 80, 85 degrees and 85-degree humidity every single day for the whole year. So there is some new growth, but it's not much. And I think what they're doing is they're just getting used to being in the ground. They're like, whoa, we can send our roots as far as we want. So here's some new growth. This is classic new growth on Neea. Very thin, very long. This growing tip right here will end up being 3 feet taller in another couple of months if I just leave it. And that's what I plan to do. I plan on leaving them. As you can see, they're in a cinder block raised bed. So the only cutting I'm going to do is if they begin to get in the way of my path. So here's a piece of this Neea, which I have my super high-tech keeper-upper, trunk keeper-upper, which is called a brick. And I could possibly even bring this guy even higher and put the brick closer to the trunk. I may do that. But anyway, at this point you can see that this part here is encroaching into the path. And that's the only trimming I'm going to do. I'm just going to let them take off. And hopefully within a year or two, we'll have trunks twice the size of these, maybe even 3 times. Just let them take off. And they root super easily from cuttings. And they also root from fairly thick cuttings. So I was taking cuttings of just such tiny, tiny young growth like this right here, and they rooted nicely, but then you're starting from such a small little plant. So I've experimented with taking thicker cuttings about the size of a pencil, and I got pretty good rooting. So this will give me the chance to propagate much, much thicker cuttings, which will, of course, decrease the amount of time between a rooted cutting and a finished bonsai. So I just wanted to show you that, and actually the real reason that I'm doing this video is because of these guys. I love my flowers. They're just so beautiful. And they haven't really gone into their prime. You can see the white ones are pretty spectacular, but these purple guys in the back, they are just beginning to flower. And these multicolored ones are also very, very interesting. And this is genetic diversity, because like I said, I just collected the seed from the plants. So that's a very interesting color. Then we have our typical purple right here. And you notice like there's a whole bunch of what looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different yellows. That's all one plant. It grew, got tall, got blown over or knocked over, and then it just grew more meristems, and so that's all one plant. Same with this white guy. These are not 4 or 5 separate white flowers. They are, in fact, one plant. And same with the purple. This is all one plant. But they do tend to fall over because they're very long and leggy. Well, here's a perfect example. Here's 2 that have fallen over. Actually, I think this one fell over because I was weeding the Premna. Anyway, see, and this one's interesting because it's already gone to seed. Those are the seed pods, and they will ripen to dark brown, and then there's a little tiny hole at the top. And in nature, it's called a dehiscent fruit, so there's no goo. It will shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink, and it will begin to actually eject the seed out of the little hole in the top. But I collect them, obviously. And snapdragon seed is tiny. It's like pepper. Just tiny, tiny, tiny little black dots. And when you sow snapdragons, you don't even bury them. You put them on some good rich soil, keep it good and moist. And I direct sowed these guys right into this bed. I just took the seed and I just sprinkled it onto the ground. So, and the one renegade zinnia, actually I think I have 2, but the other one's kind of a runty looking thing. There he is. So anyway, back to bonsai. Growing trees in the ground is by far the best way to get heavy trunks as quickly as you can. So I'm looking forward to the continued development of these Neea. And once again, if you're watching this and you're in Michigan, you probably won't be growing Neea because they're super tropical. I mean, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, Guatemala, Honduras, kind of tropical. I mean, they need constant heat all the time. And I was lucky this year because we never got a freeze, so they fared through the cold pretty well. But if we do get a heavy freeze, like next year, then I will build a frame just around, on the outside of the cinder blocks. Probably need to do some trimming, and then I'll just cover them with plastic or frost cloth to keep them warmer if we do get any kind of hard freeze. And no one knows that, and the way things are going, I'm getting less and less freezing temperatures every year, and in fact even warmer and warmer, just minimum temperatures. This year we only got down to 37 as the lowest of the low, and typically we get down to right around freezing. So you just never know. So, the fact that I may have to do some cold protection or may not hasn't deterred me from putting them in the ground. If you can put stuff in the ground and you have the space and just let it take off, you can get thicker trunks and more development so much more quickly. So we're going to leave with a little bit of ventriloquism. And you know what I'm going to do. I know you know. Where is he? Come on. I'm not getting what I want. Here we go. Okay, thank you for watching Woodcrest Bonsai. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we will see you in the next video.